just a note, something we discussed last meeting regarding the visitor sections of the meetings. What we're gonna do is, anything that people want to have submitted to the selectmen, want them submitted through Mary ahead of the meeting. We're not having people approaching the table and throwing stuff down. And we want anybody in the visitors just basically stand up, state your name and your address, kind of like a public hearing, and then make a statement. We're not gonna have a back and forth. I always let people kind of participate and run kind of a loose thing so people can talk about things, but last meeting got out of hand a little bit, and I don't want to see that happen again, so we're gonna just kind of regulate it a little bit more, okay? Having said that, visitor section, anybody?
May I present some things to the...
Since you didn't know, sure.
Thank you. As I think you're aware, this is the notice, I got 5 of them here that went out. We had a pass this around. We had a public hearing last week, and we didn't have a quorum for that hearing.
Correct.
There were only 2 people there. It wasn't recorded, except that I recorded it. If you don't attend a meeting like that, usually you have to at least listen to the recording to be eligible to vote on it. So you only have 2 people to vote on this ordinance. One of the things that I think is a concern is that people are concerned that complaints can be filed that would be anonymous. And I think you mentioned that in the blight ordinance, there is a requirement that the complaints are signed, and it's on page, I think, 3 of that, I've highlighted it. In our enforcement regulations, it's only required that the ZEO know or have a complaint. There's nothing in it, and that's highlighted on the other side of this. There's nothing in it that requires anybody to sign a complaint for a zoning enforcement infraction. And so there is a potential for malicious, anonymous complaints. I understand also requiring people to sign is chilling on complaints. I know there's 2 sides to this,
Right.
But I think it's really important that the people who make this decision have participated or at least listened to the public hearing. And I did record it. I can give you a link, a YouTube link to it. But I was very disappointed that it wasn't more better attendance for that.
John and I had a school meeting, so we couldn't come, but I was going to just talk about that today, that either that or we would just continue the public hearing. Either way.
Well,
Because you can't close a public hearing if you don't have a quorum to vote to close it. So basically, the public hearing's still open.
Is it even on the agenda today?
No, that's why it's not on the agenda, because I was going to talk about it.
Does anybody have an issue with watching the video?
Well, the public hearing's still open, so after we have to
Yeah,
do it
keep it
again.
open and then,
Right. Watch the video and then continue the public
Yeah.
hearing.
I mean, we need one more person to watch
Right,
it, and
right.
then we need a quorum for
Right.
someone want to commit to watching it.
Okay, we'll talk about that after the selectmen's part of it, okay? Thank you, Mr. Carter. I agree with the signature part of it. I mean, I sign blank complaints for people that don't want to sign them, and I'll go out and look at it, and I'll say, okay, and I'll sign it for them, because they don't want their neighbor to know. But I agree with the signature part. Okay, all right. All right, we have the existing Morgan Site Development Committee. John's supposed to be here, but we'll see. Doesn't really matter. So what's come out of the Planning Steering Committee and Planning Committee and the consultant is a suggestion, a movement towards a small committee developing. There's an RFQ right here that's been developed. It's still basically in draft stage. It's going to be handled through this committee. RFQ it out. The developers, have them come in, interview, come up with 3 maybe the committee likes to have, do an RFP, go to the public with it, ultimately come back to this board to make a decision. But Alan and I have been talking quite a bit, Christine, Tony's been involved. Committee, and Alan and I thought, like a 9-person committee possibly, at least 9, doesn't have to be that big. At the most 9, it doesn't have to be that big. And that committee will take charge of this RFQ, getting it out, and moving the process along, and determine a timeline for the process based on how long we think, working with the consultant, it would be to get a good RFQ and response and then a good RFP and a response. So, Alan, what I mean?
Yeah, basically what we've done is it's a three-stage process. The first stage involves publication of the RFP idea and what we're looking for, and basically a broad solicitation. Anybody who's interested in the site, they submit basically their qualifications, financial qualifications, experience qualifications, and what their thinking might be. You know, we want them to be involved a little, talking to potential users of the property, not just the developers. So they're going to come in with a concept, basically, nothing more than that. And then there would be a series of interviews with some of those people, and basically 3 would be selected. So that's the first phase. Then the 3 develop more detailed proposals, and that's probably a 2.5 month period. They come in with those proposals, and then there's a public process, probably a joint meeting of the committee with the board, public meeting where the 3 that were selected in the first stage make presentations. Now, based on that, the committee would make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen for the selection of a single developer. That single developer, and there'll be some sort of, I guess, contractual arrangement between the town and that developer, which states the rights and responsibilities of the town and of the developer for I would imagine, a fixed period of time. In that period of time, the idea is that parallel process takes place. They negotiate with the Board of Selectmen and probably Board of Finance with respect to price, maybe time frame, basically the rights and responsibilities of both parties. A kind of contractual arrangement, which would actually be what we're disposing of the property, what price, what conditions for the disposition of the property, and there would be a parallel track where they go through the planning process, so that when that period ends, we would have an approved plan for the development of the property and an approved deal for the disposition of the property. We're sort of following the model of Blueback Square in Hartford and any number of other places where you have an idea of what you want on the site, but you don't know all the answers, and you recognize that some of those answers are coming out of the development community. And we're going to be parallel to this, we're going to be developing the zoning for the site. What we're going to come up with is something that's flexible, that really responds to the proposal of the developer, but meets our basic parameters, the things that we see are appropriate for the site in terms of traffic, in terms of use, in terms of the Indian River, in terms of protection of the surrounding neighborhoods. That's basically the process. Probably about 6 to 7 months, 6 to 8 months to get the developer and get a plan, and then probably close to a year. It takes a long time to negotiate the deal because the developer is going to be developing a detailed plan. The numbers are going to come out in that step of the process. So this is an approach that basically tries to pair planning and the whole negotiation process down to a fixed period of time, and to make it happen. Make it happen with a single developer who's doing what we want basically what we want done in the town, but also is doable.
The idea goes back to the time frame, is that when we vacate that site and turnkey operation, they've done the parallel path, we've negotiated the sale, we've got the contract for sale, we have an approval through the zoning process, hopefully by then, here's your check, start building. So we walk off of that property, that's the idea, which is about almost 2 years away. So it's a good plan.
I think it's a very good plan, and I'll make that motion to approve
All right, we'll make a motion to form the committee. A second on the motion? All right, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Okay. Now for the committee, we're looking at max 9. Right now, we have 5 confirmed. Myself, Brad Sullivan from the Finance Board, Anselmo, Alan, and Tony Pinto are the 5 at this point. we're still reaching out to a couple more. And,
Jerry Beats might be an excellent person.
we're looking at, we're looking at different, but because he's on the building committee,
We're getting on pretty quick.
okay. Because we're looking for, well, there's a guy with another development background.
Absolutely.
All right, so we'll add John to the list. Okay, John G. But we'll finalize this and we'll come back. But right now, I'd like to make those 6 appointments with myself, Brad Sullivan, Anselmo Delia, Alan Kravitz, Tony Pinto, John Giannotti.
I'll make that motion.
Second on that?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Abstention? Motion carries. So we can start. And then,
Thank you.
and I'll tell you, did a couple, Mark Richards, we were looking at, and Dave Racka because of his engineering. Yeah. Yeah, and then I was thinking of Tom Oliver because he was talking about financial. Or Omar's here, so there's a couple guys in the financial, with the financial background.
What about Christine?
We can't have too many people on from the zoning board.
I don't have a financial background either.
They're just
I
two.
don't want to cause a problem going forward if it gets to zoning, that we have too many people on there that are,
Right, you need to recuse.
yeah.
It would be nice to have a woman, but by qualifications.
Well, maybe we'll get somebody, we get somebody with an architectural background that's a woman, we'd be very well suited at
What
that
about
point.
Russ? What about Peggy?
I don't know, she wasn't into it because of the committee and stuff, it's been
And Brad is fine, would that be,
Board of Finance, yeah, him and his wife should be on the same.
Yeah.
We'll find somebody,
I'm interested,
okay,
as you know.
I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Would Mike McDonald
An
come back?
architect-
Mike McDonald come back?
No.
No.
Probably
no?
What about Dolly?
not. Who?
Dolly, is that?
Yes, no, we're trying to find someone architectural,
Okay.
see if we can,
So what does this mean in terms of the moratorium on the?
it's still in place, the
Right, yeah,
goal.
but only till October, right?
Only till October.
So then what?
But there's really nothing can happen up there now anyway.
Yeah, well, it's really, that's really the planning and zoning commission's determination, I don't know. You know, we're gonna have something, we should have a proposal at least.
Well,
before-
what happens in October? Does it have to be designated a certain way?
No.
Oh,
No.
okay.
It can be extended if necessary.
Right.
We're not far away from something, but we wanna have sort of an envelope with some very broad density. Basically, we're thinking about the density, how much traffic it generates, and whether the uses, we want uses that are compatible and really supplement uses that already exist in the town, not really.
You know what? And another factor that you need to keep in mind is, are you looking for something that's gonna draw people in all day, every day?
Yeah,
Or
someone's
is
gonna keep
it,
them here.
or
Yeah.
something that, I mean, I know that the talk is between a hotel and, I mean, theoretically, it's on the table. And obviously development for commercial, more retail stuff. And, so I'm just curious, oh, and also my other issue, not issue, but thought is just, would your thoughts include the property across the street from the high school? Or, which will go?
Well, that's in the study, and we'll look at the zoning of the property across the street, that whether what is done with that is not within our purview, but actually looking at the zoning across the street, and we're gonna look at Clinton Common, we're gonna look at the.
Because then you have the commuter lot across the street that we've been talking about.
And there's a 7-acre commuter lot across the street
So
that's
there's a
large.
lot, so the zoning
Yeah,
would be
I know,
flexible.
there is a
And we're gonna
huge-
try to get a hold of the state
Right.
plan for I-95, because we don't, at this point, really know what their plans are. I mean, they propose closing an interchange, and I know that for a fact. That plan includes closing an interchange, the last interchange in Old Saybrook. So we don't know what they have in the plan, not that it's particularly.
I don't know what you mean by interchange.
There is, it's an exit and entrance ramp.
The entrance and exit ramp closest to the bridge.
The last one.
Oh.
last
Yes,
one.
Mr. Gold.
How will the public be informed of the progress of this group?
My inclination is we follow the procedures that are required for everything.
Yes.
You know, that the meetings be duly noticed, that, you know, that the initial RFP, RFQ get legally noticed.
Yeah, it'll be publicized.
Yeah, we want to follow, and, you know, we would be on the website, I would imagine,
Yeah.
and notify the meetings on the website. we are gonna need, at some point down the road, some money to advertise. I don't know how that's
Pay out of the
normally paid
stationery.
for.
We'll pay for it.
But not only the legal advertising, I think we, Tony and I have talked a little, but putting it in the journals and things that the development community looks to, because we really want to get.
Well, that's what we did when we did the school RFQs for the different disciplines. They were put on all the websites.
I don't even know what
websites.
I haven't even looked at what the
Right.
sort of
They want
venues are
websites.
yet, so we'll look at those venues.
Right.
I mean, we've taken it to a point, the committee is is what's appropriate at this point, I think. Take it out of planning and put it into this broader committee.
Will minutes be taken and published?
Minutes, will we want a clerk?
I'm looking for a clerk.
Yeah, definitely.
When-
Yes, I'd love Wendy.
Yeah. She might not like it, but that's what I would think.
She's a busy girl.
Well, she's good though, that's.
Well, what about Shirley? Shirley's.
Shirley's good. We got Shirley tied up in a few things now.
Gee, leave her alone.
Right.
How's it already killing her?
Between the two committees she's doing and the
Well,
FOI.
you just wanna make sure she's making some money that she wants to make.
Finally.
She's doing good.
She's gainfully employed.
Okay, so motion, we had a motion second, all in favor, can we vote it?
Yeah, we did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, good, done.
Thank
We'll
you.
get together, we'll set up, we'll pick a date, we'll try to get everybody together.
Great,
All
thank
right.
you.
Very good. Okay. Moving on, selectmen's report, Ray, Lynn?
Do you want to discuss the public hearing now? Or?
Yeah, you can bring it up, I mean,
All right, so Carol and I attended and ran the public hearing, when was that, last week?
yeah, last Wednesday.
It was fairly well attended. I mean, there were like, I don't know, about 10, 15 people there.
Yeah, I was there. I think it was,
I'd say
yeah,
15, 20.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we had a couple representatives from planning and zoning and mainly, I mean, nobody really spoke in favor of it. I mean, there were a lot of things that got brought up, but I don't know if you want me to get into them or if somebody wants to.
And you have to need to look at the tape, I'm gonna suggest that we reschedule, because it's not closed, you can't close it without a quorum. so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes more sense for someone to look at the tape and then we can reopen the hearing, have another hearing.
Continue it, and then
I'm
bring it
sure
back to
those
discussion at the
same
board.
things will get brought up and then we can talk about it then.
Can I just add to what you're saying, the little comments that, one of the comments was that someone felt that there was too much discretion on the part of the ZEO, that they thought this gave the zoning enforcement officer too much power.
You can
So
have it by
just-
state statute anyway.
I'm just reflecting comments, okay? They wanted, in the amount of fines, they wanted it to say, where the proposed ordinance reads, for a violation of any lettered subsection of section 2, the fine shall be $50. They wanted it to say per day, or per week, or whatever the time frame was, so put that in. Under item number 8, hearing procedure, the first selectman of the town of Clinton shall appoint one or more citation hearing. It seemed like it's a consensus of opinion that it should be 3 people for that.
Yeah, I don't remember what we had for the blade, I think it's 3.
I think it's Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
Board of, it gets appeals to the Board of Selectmen.
The blade or this,
Yes, Board of,
Blake gets appealed to
Yeah.
the seven, this gets.
because we had one a long time ago, we had to bring it, I don't remember what it was.
Let's see, yeah, they want, well, one opinion was to move it away from the Board of Selectmen and utilize the 3-person panel.
You can even have a hearing officer, you don't necessarily need 3.
Yeah.
Well, they want more considered opinion than just,
Right.
one person sitting in.
But the problem you're gonna have
Judgment.
is getting people willing to do it, and that some of these people get paid for it, so typically what you do is you have, use a lawyer. who-
You hire an outside- you hire
Hire
somebody.
somebody to hear, like DMV does this for the,
Right.
for the, DUI cases.
Just for say hearings.
Yeah, I mean, really the function of an ordinance like this is to give the ZEO the opportunity to get into the blight before it becomes a major problem.
This is a zoning ordinance,
This is
not
not
a
the blight ordinance.
Oh, this is the design, oh, all right.
This is the zoning ordinance.
Well, thank you for the correction, but similar idea, so.
There was discussion of the complaint should be signed by the complainant. There was a lengthy discussion about someone wanted the ZEO to have to go back to planning and zoning and alert them to the fact they were doing this. And that seems like that's kind of contrary to the whole purpose of this ordinance. The thing that surprised me was that when we, at the first ordinance, the first public hearing, there was a big discussion about owners being held responsible for the actions of tenants.
We brought it up.
Never came up. So apparently the rewording has been worked well because it never came up.
Okay.
All right, so
So it
sorry.
was about an hour, so it shouldn't be too difficult to sit and watch.